Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 10, written by Suspicious Client 890, is a story of perhaps foolishly using a Ouija board as teenagers, resulting in several near-death experiences. The cause, or just a warning. If you want to mess with a Ouija board, don't do it. You will regret it so badly. Here's a bit of backstory. Me and my friends were having a slumber party. Let's call my friends Owen, Ryan, and Kylie. My name is Mavis. It was at Ryan's house. It was 10 at night. We were all bored, so Owen asked Ryan if he has a Ouija board. Ryan said yes. We were all 16, so being young, naive teens who were bored as hell, we all agreed to do it. We researched the rules and played. We took it very seriously. I asked the first question. I asked as a joke, "When will I die?" It spelled tomorrow. Owen was a prankster who kept moving the glass piece as a joke. It spelled the word tomorrow. I accused Owen of moving it. He swore up, down, left, and right that it wasn't him. We got scared, so we said goodbye. The next day, I had a lot of near-death experiences. I had my driver's license and I had a car, so I was driving to school and a deer came out of nowhere. I missed it but swerved into a ditch. I have a chandelier in my house. It fell and nearly killed me. I also nearly got hit by a car. Then the next day, everything was back to normal. I don't think it's a coincidence. Whenever I tell anyone about it, no one believes me. The Ouija board's prediction was almost correct. I think the demon tried to kill me. Feel free to ask any questions you may have. Case notes, file number 10. I'm ever the optimist when it comes to spirits, or entities beyond the common perception. My gut, deep down, tells me that this entity wasn't trying to kill you. It was trying to protect you, to warn you. I'm not sure it did anything physically to prevent those accidents from occurring. Rather, I think that by giving you this warning a day in advance, it caused you to be hyper-aware and more cautious, leading to your final destination-style experiences without the grisly ending. Of course, this would beg the question of how a spirit could see the future. Maybe time itself bleeds away for these echoes or imprints of former people, which is what I think ghosts are. Case file number 11, written by user audreybrookee. She saw what can only be described as a ghost, soon after also witnessing the creepiest man accompanied by a crow, an omen of death. A few years ago, when I was 16 or 17, I worked in a restaurant as a waitress. There were two locations, one in my town, which I'll call Restaurant A, and one in a town about 30 minutes away, Restaurant B. I should mention that Restaurant B is located in a rougher area, and many of my coworkers weren't from the best of backgrounds. Nonetheless, they were sweet people and I trusted them. I was trusted as the manager on Thursdays at Restaurant B, which usually meant that I was the cashier, server, manager, and the only other person would be a cook, which I'll call Dave. In the restaurant, there's a front glass door that customers use, and a back wood door, no window in the door, we used to take out the trash and such. One day, we had no business and I was in the kitchen with Dave and another cook that was about to leave. We're just standing around talking, with Dave right in front of the back door, the other cook to the side of the door, and me about 5 feet away from Dave in line with the door. He had a bag of trash in his hand. He was going to take it out. He opened the door while still facing me and talking, and behind the door was a person. It was clearly a person in a gray t-shirt, jeans, and a black hat. But I only saw him for a split second, long enough to know someone was there. Then Dave saw my face and turned around, which blocked my view, and the guy was gone. The other cook saw my face turn white as a sheet when Dave had opened the door, and joked that I looked like I had just seen a ghost. Oh, the irony. While Dave started looking around outside to see what I could have seen. I started actually panicking. I have severe anxiety and panic disorder. And Dave was just trying to calm me down, but he also seemed really freaked out. He asked me what I had seen. I told him I saw someone. I described the person. And what Dave told me next will never leave me. Dave just up and started crying, and ran to the door with his phone in his hand. He was outside for nearly half an hour, and when he came back in, he was calmer but still nervous. He told me that roughly 10 years ago, he and his friend were in a horrible car accident which ended in his friend dying. He told me the person I had described, standing outside the door, was wearing the exact outfit his friend had died in. And apparently, I wasn't the first person to see the ghost of his friend. Dave told me that whenever something were to happen to anyone in his family, his friend would show up to either him or his family. For example, one time he saw the ghost of his friend, and literally a minute later his phone rang, and he found out his father had just suffered a massive heart attack. When he had went out of the door, he was calling his family to make sure everyone was okay. Luckily they were. But not even 2 days later, he found out his wife had miscarried. As if that wasn't weird enough, the same night I saw the ghost, something else weird had happened that I believe was paranormal, but I also understand could have been just my paranoia. I was up front at the register, still shaken up, and a huge crow was hovering outside the front door. It was just so weird, it literally was just flying in place. It suddenly flew away, and then a really strange looking man approached the door and opened it wide, but didn't enter. He had the creepiest smile on his face the entire time. Moments later, the crow was back and it almost came in the restaurant, but another customer swatted it away. The man literally turned around and left, didn't order anything, and didn't say a word. I know it just sounds unbelievable, but I'm hoping someone reads this and understands what I went through was real, because everyone I know doesn't believe in the paranormal and thinks I was just imagining things. Case Notes, File Number 11. It does sound like an omen of death, doesn't it? Almost like your coworker's friend who had died 10 years ago knows about death's presence, and just prior to death claiming his prize, Dave's friend attempts to give him a warning without being able to verbalize it. All he can do is appear and hope that Dave recognizes the pattern, which clearly he does. The strange man you saw accompanied by the crow, representing death. I wonder if it's like the literal physical incarnation of death itself, like in the show Supernatural. Or perhaps it was just you envisioning it because of what happened that night. Maybe it was your paranoia for that part of the story. Either way, Dave's friend is clearly looking out for him, but it sounds like Dave's soul is almost cursed. And that concludes our case files for the night. If you did enjoy the video, I'll just throw out all the standard YouTube stuff, like, comment, share the video, it all helps. And if you'd like to subscribe, I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 PM EST with new case files all the time. I'll see you there.